Create a beautiful brioche loaf, braided and filled. Go ahead and pour the eggs on top of your flour mixture. You'll begin just by stirring on low for approximately 1 minute to combine all of the ingredients and break up the eggs. Then we really get into the kneading process. You'll notice that the egg mixture actually begins pulling the flour mixture into it, slowly but surely hydrating the flour. But by placing the eggs and water and yeast mixture on the top of the flour, we prevent it from adhering to the sides of the bowl. While the dough is kneading, we're going to beat the butter into pliability. So we need the butter to remain cold, but we need it to be pliable. This dough, again, builds up so much heat with the friction of the long kneading. When we add the butter, it needs to be really cold to keep it from turning into an oily mass. To make cold dough pliable, you're going to cut it into pieces, lay it between 2 sheets of cling wrap, and then use a rolling pin or a mallet and beat and flatten the butter until it becomes malleable and pliable. You'll notice the dough is ready when it really forms a nice tight knot on the dough hook. It pulls away from the mixer bowl, it's nice and strong, but we are probably going to have to knead a little bit longer. I'm adding a little bit of moisture through a spritz bottle to help keep it from drying out during this long knead process. Checking it for strength, we still have a little bit of kneading to go, and as I pull up here at the top, it's starting to sheet or become nice and long and pliable, but it's still just a little bit rough. In other words, the dough wants to break itself apart instead of creating long elastic threads. This kneading process is going to feel like it goes on forever and ever and ever. And at some point, the mixer is going to give you grief. If that happens, turn off your mixer, let it cool down, and you can spritz the dough and just leave it here for a few minutes. But if you have the desire to knead by hand, go ahead and take this dough out of the mixer and continue the process on your work surface. At this point, the dough is going to be pretty stiff. So one of the best ways of kneading is to wrap this dough over your thumb. Basically, we are forcing the dough forward, out and up the top, and pulling it over our centered thumb. And we just keep shaping it this way and shaping it this way, and we create concentric layers within the dough. Once your mixer has cooled off, you can pop this guy back in and start adding your butter chunks a little bit at a time. And you're going to notice almost immediately this dough comes apart. It becomes squishy and messy, but you want to add 1 chunk of butter at a time and let it hit different areas of the bowl, and then let the dough hook do the rest of the work. It becomes so sloppy. Everybody always thinks that it's fallen apart at this stage, but it hasn't. If you find that it sticks to the sides of your bowl, just take a moment to use a dough scraper, stop the mixing, and scrape the bowl back against the dough hook. Again, all of this is perfectly normal. It looks sloppy and messy, but you're going to continue kneading this until all of that butter is fully incorporated and that dough begins to look like a smooth dough again. It is a long process. If your mixer can stand it though, mix and knead this dough until you get sheeting again. What is sheeting? That's when we take the dough and pull a piece apart from the total mass. And we spread it really thin between our fingers, and we stretch it and stretch it and stretch it. Almost like a pizza dough, but in a miniature form. Stretch it until we can see the light coming through it. That's how we know we have created a really strong dough. If you stretch that thin piece of dough and it just breaks, then it's not quite ready. You want to be able to stretch it and it feels like you're playing with bubble gum or something, and you hold it up to the light and you can see through it. You've created excellent gluten strength. You'll notice in the bowl that this mixture is finally starting to come together. It's starting to pull away from the sides of the bowl slightly. That's what we're going for. That's how you know it's starting to really incorporate the butter, and because everything is cold, we don't have little puddles of oil floating about. Don't be surprised if you have to scrape the sides several times to get any excess butter off, dry areas of dough. Let it work into a smooth mass. This is going to be really hard on your mixture, so again, don't be afraid to let it stop and cool off. Just spritz the surface with a little bit of fresh water to make sure it doesn't dry out prematurely. And you can check your dough throughout the process. You can check for sheeting, make sure it's nice and strong. Right now, this is still just a little bit loose and breaking a little bit too easily. We want to let this go just a little bit longer, like that. You can see it has now pulled completely away from the bowl. It's forming into a nice tight mass, going back to what was almost the original state, but now we've incorporated all of that butter. All right, we're gonna pop this into a bowl. We need to let it ferment. So we're gonna dust a large stainless bowl with flour liberally, put the dough into a ball, into the bowl, and just cover loosely with either a damp cloth or the saran wrap. We're going to let it ferment like this at room temperature or slightly warmer until the dough has doubled in size, about 2 hours. And then using the tips of your fingers, press down the dough, punching it down in size. Fold the dough in half and then in half again. Then cover with cling wrap and place in the refrigerator to refrigerate overnight. Now we're going to remove the dough and separate it into 3 equal-sized balls and then round them on the table, lightly floured to build skin strength. And you can see in this dough we have a lot of rounded lamination, and that's exactly what we were looking for with the dough hook and the long knead. Now we shape the dough by simply rolling it, trying to build a thicker skin, a nice firm skin on the outside. And you might have to just roll it into a ball and then lightly, very lightly, flour your surface and roll it several times more to build the skin strength. Once you have approximately 3 equal-sized balls, we're going to lightly flour our surface, and we're going to take each ball and roll it into a log. And we want to basically roll from the middle outward so that we're allowing the bread to stretch outward. And you can use egg wash and basically braid these 3 pieces together immediately. Or if you want to fill it, we're going to roll it nice and flat. And if your logs want to spring back, that's perfectly normal. Just try to get them as close to each other as possible in size, length, and diameter. You can fill your breads with all kinds of delicious things. So once you have 3 similarly sized rectangles developed, you can create savory fillings, sweet fillings. In this particular case, we created a sweet filling that includes brown sugar, softened butter, and a variety of nuts and spices. Just spoon that into the middle, taking care to leave the edges alone. We'll need to egg wash and glue those edges together. If we go too close to the outside edge, this is just going to ooze out during baking. Begin on the edge closest to you and start rolling up into a very thin cigar style. And then before you reach the far end, you're going to use a little bit of egg wash. And if you tried to roll it without the egg wash, it doesn't stick at all. So we're going to make sure we add that egg wash. And then place all 3 pieces together. Make sure they're nice and tidy, straight, about the same length. Using a little bit of egg wash, glue the 3 ends together. Pinch it nice and tight up there on the top edge and begin your braid. And the braid begins with right over center, then left over the new center. And go all the way to the end, and then use a little bit of egg wash again to glue the ends together. Give it a good pinch and squeeze, make sure it's going to stay together. And then you're going to give the entire bread an egg wash. This is what makes those beautiful dark crusts. You're going to place the covered bread in an area about 85 degrees and allow the bread to increase in size about 2/3 of its original size. You'll want to try to keep the surface of the bread damp, and we use misting sprays to occasionally spritz the bread or the towel that's on top of it. Proofing will take at least 1 hour, possibly longer, depending on how cold the dough was when removed. Once it's doubled in size, you're going to bake at 375 degrees until deeply browned. Begin checking your bread after about 35 minutes.